I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning. Morning, Ken.
Morning, Kim. I'm expecting a phone call this morning, so I had to step out if it rains. So, I'll apologize ahead of time. All right, I'll look for a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
Any corrections or additions? Motion to approve.
Second.
First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Carries. General public concerns.
How about the
How
minutes?
about the minutes, Bill?
How about that?
I would make a motion to approve as printed.
All right.
I'll second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Minutes are approved. General public concerns. Don't think anyone's here, no one on Zoom, let's see. Sheriff, Dean Kruger,
Yes.
you are up.
All right, well, Captain Lance, you're supposed to be bringing the new hire up, but anyhow, I don't know if you want to talk about these bids quick, or,
Yeah, we can jump around.
oh, there it is.
Oh, he is here. Let's go right into that, then we get to see. All right, I'm gonna sit there.
We doing the bids first?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you like to sit up here, so you got a table to lay out.
Great.
And I'd like to keep a closer eye on it as well.
See what I'm pulling here?
Yep.
She's got a switchblade there.
Switchblade.
Yeah, just don't cut yourself.
If anybody's doing it, it'd be me.
How many did you end up with?
Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we picked
Wow.
up 3 since, Friday afternoon, when I went home at 2 o'clock, I think we only had 5, so.
Huh.
A lot of come in late.
Must have had a few, yeah.
Don't say late, come in at the last minute.
Yeah. Okay, bid number 1 is from Doug Prime from Dakota City, and his bid is $3,000. Bid number 2 is from Justin McDaniel, and his bid is $3,005.
That sounds good.
Bid number 3. Show about my glasses. I can't. Jim something from Pocahontas, and his bid is $2,500.
Old ball and very true.
I don't know.
The next bid is from Andrew Hawk, and he bid $6,500. The next bid is from Rainwood Motors, from Rainwood, Illinois.
I was gonna say, I remember them, yeah, but I thought it sounded familiar.
That just sends them all out.
Yeah.
And Rainwood Motors bid $3,388.
Okay. Don't like the slice and dice?
Yeah, I should have. Big envelope for this little piece of paper. The next bid is from David Jones from Humboldt. His bid is $4,613. The next bid is from Stephen Olson from Bode. His bid was $5,600. And the last one is from Chris Lindell from Badger. And he bid $8,200, $8,200. Wendell, Chris, C-H-R-I-S, from Badger. I think he's
Yeah.
busy.
Oh, he's busy?
Mayor Badger?
Yeah.
He would be our high bid from what I gather.
Good.
Take too much calculation on that one.
Nope.
So refreshment, that was was it '06?
Or 14.
14,
2014
Tahoe?
Chevy Tahoe. With, you say,
161,
161, I think, is what the miles
Yeah.
were on it.
Well, somebody got a good deal.
Yeah, I'll say.
Well, one thing you gotta know about this Tahoe is, it's not a LT or, it's just a basic.
Oh, it's your
an
front of the
LS.
line.
Yeah.
Still was in nice shape. Everybody that I've visited with said that it was, inside was spotless,
Yep.
so.
Yeah, the two deputies that drove it took really good care of it, so.
Good for Chris.
Yep.
Do we need a motion?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need, I'll make a motion to accept, pending the check and all that stuff that is cleared for Chris Wendell of Badger for $8,200 for the 2014 Tahoe.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any more discussion on the purchase of the vehicle? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right, thank you.
Okay, now we have introduction of new hire.
Okay. Well, as you know, Gene Moss is gonna retire at the end of the year.
Mhm.
So we advertised and, we did interviews and stuff, and, this is our candidate right here, Ashley Hefty from Livermore. So, today would be her first day.
All right.
Ashley?
Oh, well, yeah.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome.
Yep, she's gonna be working with Gene until the end of the year, so that
That'll be
she
good.
Yeah.
understands all the civil stuff, so,
There's a lot to it.
yep.
So
Mhm.
is Jean pretty much at the end of the calendar year, that's about where she's been?
Yep, yep. And we just had a condemnation, proceedings and stuff, which I'm glad Gene was still here and stuff, so it's a lot of mess. It's just a mess doing those things, so. So anyhow, she'll be learning.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Tell them a little bit about
I was
yourself.
gonna say, have you had any past experience? This type of work?
Actually, in the lab tech for the last 15 years. And this came up and it had perfect hours and it's right next to the tab. I mean, what better?
Good location.
No more holidays, weekends, call. I live 3 miles south of Livermore on the acreage. We have a lot of poultry.
Her dad works for Secondary Roads.
Yeah, my dad's my carpenter.
Oh,
Okay.
Didn't know that.
And she gets to work with Cory and I.
No, what?
Hey, win-win!
I'm guaranteeing you that why she was calling all of us, wondering what we could do, but...
She wants a big pay raise. She probably deserves
Well, I didn't hear you today, so I guess we're good.
That's right.
So is there, I don't have a clue, is there schooling, I mean, or is it just training? You don't know?
She can go, every spring, we have a civil school down there at the Sheriff's and Deputies Association, so she'll be
That's what I
going to that,
wanted.
so,
Okay, good.
for like 20 hours or whatever, so.
Cool.
Any other things that come up that would benefit her, we'll send her that too, so,
Well, you officially started.
today.
Today's
First day.
35 minutes ago.
Okay, well, good luck with everything.
Yep.
I'm gonna take her around to the courthouse, introduce her to some of the different offices, so she kinda has an idea on that stuff.
Very
So
good.
she knows when they're,
Yeah.
who she's talking to when they,
Yep.
good.
Can put names, or faces with names and, yeah.
Mhm.
Very good.
Good enough.
Good luck, getting up to speed.
Yep, be nice. All right, thank you.
Okay,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
You got your bids on this stuff?
Well, he's not gonna leave.
No.
Oh, look at you.
He's not gonna get rid of that easy.
He's always slipping out of something.
Yeah, you can't get rid of that easily.
Okay, now we have discussion and possible action on the purchasing of a side-by-side for the sheriff's department. All right, I was not here when this was brought up, I was gone that week, so.
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago that I brought it up and stuff, if there was any interest in maybe allowing us to get one. The Kubota that the emergency management has is worthless to us in the wintertime. And last year, we had several, rescues, whatever I wanna say, for the wintertime and everything. And then I attended a emergency management, exercise down in Webster County, down there at that ATV park that they got. And, we did with the DNR and everybody, you know, we had a couple ATVs down there that crashed into each other down there, and it just, you know, we got a lot of rivers and stuff around here and stuff where we have to go. And then, last week we had to go over by, the Murray Bridge, we had what do you wanna say, a person living there that,
Squatter.
In the old days, they called them hobos.
yeah, squatters, or whatever you wanna call them, I don't know what you wanna call them, so.
Homeless.
Yeah. So we went to my house and got my ATVs and stuff, and I thought it'd be just nice just to have something here, and just...
Technically, that'd be cheaper for the county if you just continue to use yours.
Well, I could charge rent on them.
Is this what it looks like, this right here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it can hold up to 6 people.
Okay.
So this is a quad cab?
Yeah, it's a deluxe, or whatever they call it. And,
Crew cab.
Yep, and then I was talking to the salesman from, Algona there, he said, a couple years ago, I think it was 2018, we had that bad storm come through here, and, he said there was a semi in a car that got stuck south of Algona and stuff, and the sheriff's office borrowed a couple of these to go rescue them and stuff, and not knowing, they found a semi, they didn't know where the car was, well, only to find out that they were on top of the car when they got there, because they couldn't see it or anything, so.
Wow.
That was bad.
Yeah, but this could also be used for, emergency management. I'm not sure what you wanna do with that Kubota.
Means you mentioned that, I got a question.
Yeah.
Would this be a better purchase for emergency management, sell their Kubota that is pretty worthless? Because in a tornado, you run over nails and you got flat tires.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be a better purchase for emergency management to do, and then the sheriff use it in emergencies?
I would rather have the sheriff's office and emergency management use it. That way I control what's going on with it.
True. But it seems like, my thoughts is for more of an emergency management position. But I mean, it's still county funds, but it could,
We're gonna be there no matter what.
I know, because you're gonna be the guy driving.
Well, it's hard to say, it's emergency generally.
Yeah.
Whomever,
It's not for
however.
everyday use.
I think so.
You gotta watch what you do with emergency management, because the government, Homeland Security pays for a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. But it's for emergencies.
Correct, yeah.
Mhm.
That does bring up, you know, that the Emergency Management Association is a separate entity. Then Dave said, yeah, they do get some grants, but it is also quite a bit of county money that funds emergency management. Not all grants, not all.
They give us their budget and they say you have to pay it, no matter what the
Essentially.
budget is.
Essentially, yep. So, but, yeah, they're getting as many grants as you can and then through emergency management, and the balance is got budgeted, so.
Yeah. But
I mean...
what I'm looking at, do we need two of
No.
these things in the county?
No.
That's why I look at it, that's
No.
why I think you're better off for the emergency management, to trade theirs in or sell it and purchase something like this that we could use. That's my thoughts.
Well,
These are two different styles, right?
No, I think they're the same.
That's what I was gonna ask you, is
The
it,
pictures.
They're pretty close to the same.
what's the difference between the two?
I think the motor size might be a little bit different.
Yeah, about 20 horsepower difference for the
Yeah.
point.
Because it seems like there's, is this 24.5?
Well, but then you gotta add the tracks on there, but that's another 5,000 something, so they're...
Where's that at?
It should be... on the-
Oh, it's on the back, okay.
Yeah, you
Okay.
gotta add that on the first bid and stuff, so...
Okay, 5449.
so my question is, and I have to be the, because I know the answer, I think. You have money set aside for this, it's in your budget.
Yes.
Well, with Rick's question,
My concern is it's the overall budget, I know it's gonna be short.
Mhm.
No, I'm good.
with your question,
Is this budget gonna be short?
No, it's not, I'm fine.
You're not gonna ask for a budget amendment?
I'm not planning on it. Unless some big emergency comes up, but my budget's all right.
Okay, this tip-out windshield, do you have to add that down to this price too?
On the original...
Does this one have a tip-out window and the tracks?
Yeah.
So it's all I just wanted to make sure that we're,
Yeah.
for money, we're
Should be,
talking same thing.
On the column towards the bottom there, should be like a $1,500 deduction on there. Is that...
Yep, that's on there, yep.
They're both the same horsepower, different CCs, but they're
Yeah.
both 82 horsepower.
it's just Can-Am's a little higher unit.
I just for the name.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that...
Better scale.
Oh, they're both good.
Well, my question is, if that one for, EMA is worthless, or we already own it, technically, why can't we use it for the secondary roads to continue to cut trees and stuff, and just to make it work?
It's not secondary roads, and it's not the county's.
It was bought with...
Well, if you're gonna get rid of it, you talked about trading it in, so...
Well, we'd have, the county would have to buy it from the EMA, which is
It's-
stupid, but that's the way it works.
We have to buy it because we paid for it,
Yeah,
and buy
we
it back
pay for it,
from
and then we
them.
gotta buy it again.
They'll give you $4,000.
Well, how about this, given the fact that EMA is a separate entity, and there is an EMA board, and I'm on that board, in fact, I'm the vice chairman of that board, that we contact the chairman, maybe we also have an executive committee, discuss this, see if there's a full meeting needed, and take a look at the EMA's budget, and take this, maybe to Rick's, point, does it come through the EMA and make sure that the sheriff's department has access to it? Do we
Because
need-
when he needs it, it's an emergency, it's not a
Right,
day
but,
use vehicle.
no, but, and when anyone needs this emergency, whether it's, that's emergency, remember the name, emergency management,
Yeah.
that, but the sheriff is always directly involved in that, they're gonna get the call.
Yeah, and fire departments, if they need for
Yeah.
something, I mean,
And-
it's available for input.
And I think
Don't they have
too,
Huh?
Don't they have one,
Who?
fire department?
Yeah, Humboldt does, they got a 6x6 or whatever they call those things.
Everybody has one except me.
Yeah,
Well, I don't...
yeah, well, you just have to cough up the
You
money
mean
and get
like,
one.
I'm cheap.
we have one like this?
They got one that's got big tires on it,
Yeah.
and
Well, why can't you borrow that when we need it then?
that's fine.
that's fine.
That's fire department, that's a different entity, but
Okay.
EMA is Humboldt County EMA, so therefore EMA assists all emergency entities from sheriff's department to fire department. So when the EMA Association has any equipment, whether it's a trash pump or a side-by-side, that is, I think, agreeable and available to the sheriff's department, or the EMA uses it, or the sheriff's department uses it, if there is a fire, rescue, and that, I think it covers any needed agreements or anything, you know, when it is based on emergency. You know, you had said something a few weeks ago, you need an agreement you know, between the sheriff's department and the EMA, if the sheriff's department had this and the EMA gets to use it. I think if the EMA has it, the agreement, it's emergency management, so if it's an emergency, it's there. Now, I wouldn't recommend secondary roads using it, because you have a different situation. Get your own.
Geez, having all these vehicles that aren't gonna get used that much,
Well, I
it
think
just seems like a
secondary roads
waste of
would use
money.
it.
I mean, you
I don't know if it'd be daily, but it'd be often.
I just-
We've used, yeah.
That's why I think it was EMA, everybody could use it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, even the sheriff's office, everybody can use it.
Yeah, I know,
Because
but then
I'm getting
EMA,
calls on it
if
anyway.
they're sitting on one already, that's what I'm saying, they were sitting on two of
Two
them.
of them. Yeah, I mean, I just,
You better use the EMA, trade theirs in and get it, and then let the county use it for emergency. You still have access to it, it's just that you don't, you have to ask.
Well, I guess my feeling is if you do that, are you sure that he can borrow it?
Yes.
well,
We can't buy it, we can't have it, we paid for it, but yet he's gonna be able to go get it anytime he needs it?
Yeah.
I don't know if that, knowing the federal government, I'd say that probably wouldn't be
That's
true.
what your new director is too, he could be a little hard
That
to work with too.
remains to be seen, but,
Yeah.
well, it isn't,
I would prefer to have it myself. I can build, they're gonna call me anyhow.
Yeah, I know they are.
And I've got it in my budget, I would prefer to have it, me having it, instead of, and I can kinda control who gets it and who doesn't, and,
brings up a point too, because EMA is a separate quasi-governmental agency. They do own, that association owns the Kubota,
Even though,
Was it bought with a grant, or was it bought with county money?
you know, probably some of each.
the,
If it was ear tagged with some grant, you probably have handcuffs on what you can do as far as selling or trading it, but
I don't-
if the county
No.
money paid for it, I don't know.
I don't
how
think
you
there's
get around selling.
any, the EMA, they can do whatever they want,
Yeah.
they can sell it for open bids, or they can trade it in on another one.
Exactly. I don't think that there's any, to my knowledge, beyond that, there's nothing tied to what you can or can't do,
so either,
no matter who paid for it.
yeah.
I mean, I think it's probably some of each, actually. There's some extra money there.
I think they got a grant at the time when they did buy it, if I do recall.
Yeah. But it's still, their board's
With their
decision.
budget,
I don't think they
you
did.
don't think it was?
I don't think so.
I didn't
I know, buy it for $3,000.
No, you
Ah!
Price is going down and...
Yeah, well, that isn't gonna happen.
Can I put in a bid too?
Yeah, no kidding, right? Oh, we do the same thing as the sale that you just had.
yeah, open bid.
Give it a buck too.
Yeah.
Buy it for 2,500, let Dean store it, he can...
Ah!
Would it be fair though to run this through, around and past the EMA board? They have control of the Kubota, if you want any option with that.
Well, I think it'd be a much better, more usable piece of equipment for them to use too, because when they need it, it's in a flood, snowstorm, tornado, a tired vehicle is pretty worthless in those situations, and that's what they have.
And I know what Dean's driving
And
at.
Dean, he would gladly loan it to them during that period too, I know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just,
We're gonna be in no matter what.
yeah.
So what difference does it make if it's an
The
EMA caption, or if
difference is we're
it's...
sitting on two of them,
I
and the sheriff
understand that.
buys it, and if EMA buys it, they only have one. That's the only difference.
And Dean can speak to it, because he's used the Kubota, he's familiar with it. Anyone that's been around it and used it for anything, it's not really an emergency use vehicle.
It's slow.
It's a utility, have it on your
It's on
farm.
the farm.
Drive around.
Yeah, it goes 25, 30 miles an hour.
Doesn't go very fast, it doesn't have a,
It's a diesel.
Yeah.
it's a farm use vehicle.
It is.
What it is.
Wintertime use, you're gonna gel up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it isn't that great of a vehicle.
I mean, it's fine for what utility, but it's not a utility in emergency situations. That's no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
We've used it to drive ditches and cut trees, inspect culverts and tile and create work orders. And it's been fine work for that. It's got a heater, you know, so warm up in between cutting trees. But that was my guy's biggest complaint, was top speed's like 20 miles an hour, so if you're driving over to cut trees by Gilmore, you're gonna spend an hour getting over there.
Oh, my God.
It's easier to load it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm more than happy to contact the EMA board and run this up and around through them, with some ideas, but it's up to whatever anybody wants to do.
Would either one of these places take a trade-in?
I don't think you're gonna get a lot for it. I think you're better off doing
Maybe
it.
better off-
Do an open bid?
Yeah, bid like we did.
Although this,
I would suggest checking with Homeland Security, because that's the money that bought that, to see what you can do with it or what you can't do with it,
Yeah, I'll get ahold of them.
before you put the horse before the cart. I'd make a motion to go ahead and let Dean have the Polaris Ranger. That's about $2,400, $2,380.
24.
Yeah, about $2,400 cheaper.
The only thing is, the one from, the Can-Am, there's about, was it $1,200 worth of lights that they added in the bill?
Well, they did put a,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's about $1,000 more,
Yeah.
Can-Am wants $1,000 more.
yeah. He bid a bunch of lights and stuff on it, the LED bright lights and all that kind of stuff, so, which we would probably put on, if the Polaris is one, that would, we'd have to put that on there anyhow, those bright lights, so we can see where we're going.
So that's gonna raise the price. So it's not
259.95
really...
and 150, and then 60
Yeah,
for the light bars.
yeah.
I withdraw my motion.
Gotta give us all the information at one time, Dean.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yep, well, I thought I sent it out in an email to you, but,
But
You
it
did.
spell all that out? The lights and everything?
yeah.
Oh, I must have missed.
well, I just, given Dave's, everybody's comments, and, you know, just to double check, and we do have good connections with the EMA folks in the state that can tell you this, that, or if there's any concern about anything. My question right now is, if it ends up being the sheriff's department, and everything's all well and fine, and the EMA just wants to sell this, and there's an agreement that this is usable by any emergency entity, if the sheriff's department owns it. It's foolish for the EMA to have this thing, to maintain it, it's not really...
I don't want two machines
No.
sitting around,
Not being
No,
used.
not being used. We already got one sitting around not
Right.
being used.
Right, and if you have one, it's a chance of, like you said about pickups, it's better if you use them.
That's right.
And it's better if you use it. So if we find all that out, the sheriff's department ends up owning it, that we make, the other thing is to make sure it's just all well and fine, that it goes to any emergency management, number one, and/or any other emergency entity, number two.
That's my only, I don't really care who owns it, 'cause it's gonna be paid for by the county, no matter what.
Yeah.
But I don't want two of them sitting around.
But is it fair then, if that's the agreement, and if the sheriff's department owns it, to discuss with the EMA board, okay, however they decide, because it's an own board, and there is a board, they say, let's just do what Dean did with this old Tahoe, let's do sealed bids or whatever, because at this point, trading it in, we're not at that point, we don't even know, if you never ask the question if it's something that can be traded in. But you know, so to keep it cleaner, it appears that it would be just better to sell it. Is that the EMA board to just sell it, take the money and they just have that extra money, I guess.
Well, if they're gonna be part of it, why couldn't they put that money towards it?
Nah, because it's two different boards.
Oh, my God.
They didn't buy it.
I know, it's stupid.
It is.
It's government.
Yeah.
Then you'd end up drawing up some type of an agreement
Yeah.
to rent or something, and I don't think that's necessary, but, you know, maybe it's fair is trying to get some information in the next week or so per this discussion, you know? fall over ourselves.
This piece of equipment doesn't require a trailer to be hauled in or there, or does it require a trailer?
It could require a trailer too.
It's probably gonna have to. I mean, you aren't, unless you're gonna, if you have somebody
It's a long ways
over
down
by
the road
Hardy,
to the county.
you aren't gonna jump in this thing and drive it all over the
A
county.
similar vehicle that will go 60 miles down the road.
Do they have a trailer now that thing's hauled on? Does anybody?
They do, they don't like it. It's not very good. It works. They can all.
Single axle,
It's not a real spiffy trailer.
yeah, it really squats the tires when they...
I'm sure this one would really swat it, 'cause it's way heavier.
It's only a single axle too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's not the single axle, it just isn't that spiffy. It's an old steel trailer.
Sounds like you can maybe see this and stuff.
Yeah.
Or upgrade. I mean, there's another thought.
Quite a few.
Depending upon which direction, which entity purchases this, there'd be nothing saying if it was the sheriff's department that purchased it, the EMA could say, take bids for the quota, get some money.
Buy a trailer.
They could, yeah, and then, and maybe they take sealed bids for the trailer at the same time, along with it. I know from anyone that's dealt with it, probably Dean included, that trailer just needs to be upgraded. You know, if you have that crappy
Where's this
trailer
thing
on
gonna
secondary
sit?
road, you would've got a different one. You would've got a different one.
And it doesn't, in that shed that we don't have.
Where's this thing gonna sit once it's purchased on the trailer?
My shed at home.
Oh,
Oh, I'll talk sweep the bend here for a while, so I can get my shed built.
Well, from time to time.
Yeah.
So we're gonna look into how the Kubota is able to be
Yeah.
gotten rid of. There's no time frame on this. If you hold it for a week, until we find out what,
That'd be fine.
and then you're gonna check with,
Yeah, we're gonna just
EMA
get the
board?
technicalities.
That might sound like a good operation where they sell that one, get a decent trailer, that haul that on, even if it's an enclosed trailer, would probably be a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I had got the comment from the chairman of the EMA board per this discussion, that, you know, if there's anything deciding, that does need to come before the EMA board. But we don't control.
No, we don't.
We don't have anything.
We can ask them.
We don't have any control over the Kubota. Dean doesn't, it's a separate entity, and he mentioned that, and I said, you know, we'll see, I said, we're having a discussion today. I said, I'll let you know what happens, and then it'd be his decision, if it needs to go through the executive board or the full board to make a decision to do something. So, we got a lot of good options here.
1 week?
Might be two, 'cause I don't know if we're gonna have a meeting next week.
Yeah.
Fine.
Is there any?
How about two?
All right, 2 weeks.
All right.
perfect.
Well, we've had a lot of discussion on this, and we'll
That's good, though.
review it in 2 weeks, and see what...
We'll know in 2 weeks.
So we all know
We'll have some of these
who's
questions.
doing what, right?
Yeah, I'll get ahold of the state, see what the scoop is on that.
Okay.
In the mean, we work with the EMA board on, just keep these executive board in the loop on that.
So then I go ahead and order this one then?
No. Just let us know if you're doing any checking for some of these questions,
Yep.
but.
Well, I'm wondering if one of them would happen to be going through town, they take a look at that and give you at least an idea as to what the ballpark of that Kubota being worth.
Yeah,
I suppose.
That'd be nice to know regardless.
it won't hurt to give us an idea.
Well, like R and J, they could probably give me...
Yeah, they can tell you.
Yeah.
They gotta put prices on it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd just like to know
I think
that,
I agree with Bruce, a rough idea at least. I mean, we had a idea that somebody said that tile was worth 13 and we got 8,200, which it is what it is, it's sealed bids, but it'd be nice to know on
you
this the same way.
take a chance every time you do a sealed bid, but
Right,
I'd like
you
to
never
know
know.
that it could be worth 5,000 or, like Ben said, 3. I don't have a clue.
That's,
If I was
no,
buying it, it'd be-
no.
If I was buying it, it'd be 11, so.
No.
I know when they bought that one, it was 17,000.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Plus it was the diesel.
Yeah.
You might be surprised, though.
Yeah.
When they bought it originally.
Yeah.
I think it's still holding its value.
Oh, it's in good shape.
Probably pretty well.
Okay, I'll get ahold of the state then and see what the scoop is on that Kubota, and I guess, you don't know if we'll have a meeting next week then?
I don't believe so.
It's a holiday.
Because it's Labor Day? Yeah, on Tuesday.
Do we have claims next week? You know, I'd be anxious to drive this thing around.
I just wanna get it ordered.
Yeah, claims.
Because it's gonna be a while
We'll
before
have
we can get
claims
it.
next week, so we'll have to approve claims at least. So. I'm just looking in on Tuesday morning and just do claims.
We do unless, if you remember, 'cause I'd like to jog your memory, we do have an LEC meeting on Tuesday morning.
Yes, we do.
We did, our small LEC board said that would work, but we
So
still
we
need
do
to,
it after that.
yeah, so we have our 7:30, of course, that's gonna screw up our having time for discussion at the LEC meeting.
Well, we
We could
down
do
to
later, I mean, it doesn't have to be 8:30, yeah, I was gonna say it could be, yeah,
I push it back a hair,
Yeah.
you think just...
give yourself an hour at least, wouldn't you?
So he's an hour.
Yeah.
I think...
9:30, 10 o'clock.
Just-
That's it.
How about if we move down to discussion on the board meeting for next week on the 6th and move it to the 7th, 9 o'clock?
All right, we'll go down here, like Dave
Is that gonna give you, I don't think that'll give them enough time for the
Our meeting
discussion,
starts
is
at
it?
7:30.
Oh,
You
okay.
done with me?
Yep, we're done with you, Dean.
All right, thank you.
Keep this, run through the executive board on the EMA, so we know what
Yeah.
to find out on this
Yeah.
question.
Talk with them.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fine. You're gonna get hold of the chairperson?
Yeah, we're gonna,
All right,
yep.
get it rolling.
Yeah, sure, we're gonna get her done in a couple weeks.
All right, thank you.
Yep, thanks, Dean. Thanks,
That's
Dean.
it.
See you later.
Yep.
So we're going the 7th at 9, was that what I heard?
I think that'd be plenty of time.
I would think so.
Probably have coffee and donuts after the LEC even. Depending on-
We might.
All right. So we have a motion to set the meeting at 7 at 9 o'clock. Do we have a second?
Second.
Oh, Candy.
Doesn't matter, I don't care.
Candy can second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carries.
Who was first?
Dave.
Okay.
All righty, we'll bounce back up here to Ben.
Morning.
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 I've got one item on the agenda, to approve an application to work in the county right away with Mid-American Energy. This is for the second mile on Virginia Avenue between 110th and 120th Street. Finally got their plans together for what they're gonna do. Plan is in the next couple of weeks to move in and start setting goals on that whole 2-mile stretch. Everything's been staked by the county for the south mile. They moved a couple of the poles in from where they had originally had them staked. Everything on the north mile has an existing fence.
Gonna stay on the same side of the road,
Yep.
taller poles.
Taller poles, changing the spacing slightly on a few of them. I think, right now, the spacing on them is a little wider than what the new requirements are, so there'll be a little tighter pattern on them,
Yep.
but it's upgrading the older poles
What?
with taller poles.
In the discussion we've been ongoing about doing this, a little bit straightening them out too.
Yes.
They were so mishmashed in their
Yeah.
alignment.
Not on this mile stretch, but on the...
Is this the north line, is this the north
This is the
line?
north mile. The previously approved one was the south mile between 120th and 130th.
Okay.
And that north half mile, most of those poles were within 5 feet of the edge of the road.
Right.
Where we couldn't even bring a wing out when we were moving.
Have they done any of this work yet?
Not yet,
Have they done the south part at all?
not yet. We've approved the
Right.
permit, but they're
We haven't done it.
both of these
Okay.
to go through before they
Okay.
started.
So everything's good?
Yes.
Nothing, he looks all in line, I would make a motion to approve this application for work in the county right away for Mid-American Energy to re-span Virginia Avenue between 110th and 120th Street.
I'll second that motion.
I have a first and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. You want, are you guys notify the landowners that they're gonna do this?
We haven't, but I have spoken to the Wigginses in the South Mile.
I wonder if they're gonna wanna crank up that corner beans.
They should be fine. Everything south of the acreage, we're outside of what they've planted.
Oh, okay.
North of the acreage, I think they've got a few beans where
they'll do those.
might be on either side. But I have talked to Bruce Wiggins, and Craig's son lives north of them, and Craig's aware of
Okay.
the project.
All right. Okay.
Beyond that, update on the link belt, the insurance company has opted to repair. The cost to repair was, I think, $33,000 or $34,000. Valuation of the machine, they said was in the 60s, but with county insurance the way that it is, if they were to deem to total the machine, they would have to get us a replacement machine. Replacing the machine is like $130,000, so 30 sounds a lot better than 130 to the insurance company. So they're gonna repair it, but then with that, we've also got, rental insurance. So we worked with Mid-Country to bring over a 2021 link belt that they've got over in Sioux City right now. And we're scheduled to rent that for the next 3 months.
Gonna take it that long to fix it?
And insurance will, well, so the ROPS cab that they...
It's not here yet.
No.
Come on, slow boat.
Damn slow.
It'll be getting, it's been ordered, but it's getting built right now, and then it'll have to take the slow boat over.
It will be, they'll be lucky if it's fixed by the end of the year.
Well, they're saying, hopefully it'll be here in October.
Yeah, hopefully.
We'll use it till it freezes up and then we'll fix
So
it.
is there a time limit on the rental, timeframe on the insurance?
Right now, we just said, 3 months. We're renting it for 3 months. That'll get us through the end of November at that point.
We're usually shut down.
We're usually starting to slow down.
Yeah, you are gonna be using it in the winter, so.
Yeah, we've had some nice Decembers where we've been
Never
all
know.
the way up to Christmas.
I know.
But, just to be on the safe side, we just said the end of November.
Does the, agreement, insurance coverage cover it that long?
Yes.
It covers it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, and actually, the insurance company is happy. I mean, they cover, I think, up to $1,000 a day for rental. And if I lock it in 3 months, we're doing it for $4,300 a month.
Oh, wow, that's pretty good.
Quite a bit of savings.
And that was covered,
Yeah,
so.
they were happy when I...
Pretty good protocol to get the excavator back up and running then.
Yep. So then we can, we hauled the existing machine down to Rexco in Des Moines this morning, so it's on its way down there right now.
Well, that should work. That's a kind of good timing and nice to have the extra coverage for the rental.
So we can keep being productive.
So that's the last week for...
Real good.
This is
4
the last
days.
week for the 410s, starting, Tuesday, they will switch back to their 8-hour, 5 days a week positions.
Any grumbling about that?
No, there hasn't been. I think, everybody's happy, ready for the change.
Okay.
Keeps it mixed up a little bit.
Well,
Yep.
kids are back in school.
Yeah.
More of a routine
And it's gonna start getting darker
earlier.
Mhm.
That's good though, it looked like they were productive with those hours, I mean, a lot of stuff got done, of course the weather was good, a lot of repair stuff over the summer.
Repairs, for
Yeah,
sure.
okay, it's been busy.
A lot of resets.
Well, good.
All right.
And that should be around all week.
All right, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Ben?
Thanks, Ben. Hey, Ben? Wanna pick that up, Sue?
Yeah. Got some flags?
Yep. Thank you.
Good morning, Linda.
Good morning.
We're ready for you.
Okay. Well, the time of year for approving new homesteads, military, disabled homesteads, that sort of thing. We had, we've
canceled 155 homesteads for various reasons. 36.
Is that a lot? Is that a lot? More than,
Seems like a lot.
Sounds like a lot.
I know.
Well, we added another 105,
Okay,
so, but overall, we lost.
Yeah.
yeah.
And we canceled 36 militaries, but added 21 new ones. And 4 new disabled vet homestead applications. And we also have, I brought down, business property tax credit, new applications for 21. You guys want me to pass them around, or do you care?
What was that, with business property tax, is that again?
It's, the business property tax exemption credits for, commercial properties that signed up for it.
Okay.
And, state determines what they get, so.
Okay.
And there was, not too many.
That's, exactly, pretty big.
No, and here is, in case you maybe wanna look at these, this is the disabled vet homestead. That's the ones where the total tax on the property is zero.
Oh,
So,
okay.
You gotta
said
be
you
100%.
canceled 36 military and added 21, is that, I'm just trying to put that in my head, is that because of death? Would that be 36?
Oh, no, not necessarily. They may
Could have
be,
moved, or...
yeah,
That's what I wanted.
moved to a different property, or...
I was hoping they hadn't lost that many,
No,
but
I
that
don't
wasn't...
know, there's various reasons.
And like the homestead thing, you know, a lot of times is, you gotta own it and live there if you get that, and people leave their home, and then maybe their kids move in or something.
Yeah,
It's not so much that they tore the place down or anything, it's just a
Right.
change of ownership.
Okay, and these are the other homestead cancellations, the military. I don't wanna...
This is done yearly.
Yep, yep.
So we can do it with one sweeping motion to
And as far as I'm concerned,
approve, or, I'll make a motion to approve the homestead, military, and the BPTC applications
I'll second.
as presented.
Okay, we have a first and a second, any more discussion?
Well, I don't disagree with anything, but I've had several people contact me, and this might not be all, and they're getting, because they qualify for some of these things, if not all
Yeah.
of them. Some of this is listed on their tax roll, and some is not. They're getting they found out they're getting whatever exemption, whether it's military or homestead or both, and it's confusing to them.
Oh, you mean like when you get your tax papers?
Yeah, there's confusion that it doesn't state on there.
I think it's homestead state.
Yeah,
I think
homestead is, I don't know.
Homestead is, but like the military maybe exemption is not stated?
I'm not sure exactly what the deal is with that. Didn't we discuss that last week, was that the military?
Yeah, but they didn't show up, but the numbers
The
showed up.
credits there, that this
Well,
is not
it
enough.
isn't when they,
Description to what it's for, huh?
No.
right, and they apply for it and receive, and they are getting it now.
Yeah.
But it doesn't show it, and it's very upsetting to a few people that had a conversation with.
Well, we were kind of worried about it too, until we got it figured out.
Is there any, I know a lot of this stuff is generated, you know, with your information, and it just shows up on a form.
Yeah.
But is there any way to get that, so they...
It'd be the treasurer's, it's
If
their
it comes-
form,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
You just make sure everything's correct, and then that...
Right, yeah.
If there's, you know, you understand that you're looking for, you know, you went in
I
and
mean,
you...
I get my military,
Right, yes.
and it doesn't state that.
No,
It just
and
has
then
a
that,
number there.
they say they have a homestead in the military, which some folks do,
Right.
and they see the homestead and say, okay, and they don't see their military, and they get concerned about that. Even though they are getting it, because
Yeah.
they checked into it, yes, you know, your office probably had to double check for them, but...
We did, we had a couple calls.
Yep, and...
One for sure, right? And it took us a while to figure it out.
And of course, that's upsetting, if it, how can they not know this right off the bat? Why is it on my statement?
Yeah, or because it probably used to be on there.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it did.
I don't have a military exemption.
I don't either.
Well, I think they used
Dave?
to go up.
I thought I...
Does it show up on yours?
No. Nope. I get homestead and military and it don't show up.
So, other than making sure that they have all the forms filled out, how would you answer?
To see if there's a way that that can be listed on those statements.
But you'd have to ask Jana about that.
And that'd be the state that probably generates that. I imagine it's the state.
The homestead shows.
Well, it'd have to be approved by the state, I
Either one of them
suppose,
shows up, but I see.
you know.
Has it ever showed
Homestead
up there?
exemption shows up on
Yeah.
statements, does it not?
Yes, yeah, it does, over off on the, if I remember, it was
Yeah.
on the right down. I just
No,
missed
it's
it.
a military exemption that does
Yeah,
not.
we finally figured it out when we noticed the net, let's see, the taxable value, and then there was like a net taxable value. And that was, the difference between the two was the credit,
Right.
and, but we had to calculate it, and,
Yeah,
and
it's not stated on there, that's what it is.
Dave, do you remember if yours ever showed up on your statement, do you know? Do you
Used
remember?
to at one time.
It used
That's
to
what I
one time.
thought, I remember I went to the house years ago and...
It showed that you had homestead and military, but I haven't noticed it on it for quite a while.
Okay.
there's so much stuff on those
I know.
tax receipt statements now that I think it's hard.
But I think it's something that we can look into and see if there isn't
Yeah.
a listing.
Yeah,
Yeah, the homestead credit goes on, the military one that, 'cause they have essentially, I hate acronyms, what was the DPTC?
business property tax credit.
That's another one that could show up on there then.
I think it shows up on mine,
Okay.
the amount.
Yeah, that one I don't have any complaints on, but it was the military one not showing up.
Yeah.
The homestead exemption showed up and the military did not, so.
Yeah.
I guess that's just something that you need to check into.
And I don't know if it had anything to do with the way it started with, there's been discussion on privacy on military. So, I thought maybe that was it, but then they changed the law again, I think last year, that it could show up on the tax receipt. So I don't know. You have to ask Jana about that.
Oh, we will.
Yeah, do that, because I don't know if that's why it's not there, and they haven't got it back on, or, there's been some things going on in the legislature about, privacy of veterans, that sort of thing.
There's that, and then, you have to be 100% disabled through the service
Correct.
in order to get it tax-free.
Mhm.
But that's in,
And they're working on right now of making that 75%.
Oh, are they? Oh.
those are two separate entities, though.
Yeah.
One is military, and one is
Military, one's
disabled.
disabled, but...
Well, yeah, if you're 100% disabled, you get taxes taken off.
Zero.
But if you want tax credit, any veteran can get that.
Right,
Yep.
right.
And you're,
And actually, the disabled one is a homestead credit, not a
Right.
military credit, so.
So Jana's the one that can give us that, can she come in next Tuesday and give us what we find out, so that we
did
know?
you ask her, Linda, just that,
I haven't talked to her, when we went down there, I think she was at ISAC or something. Is she there today, here?
Well, I'm sure she wanted to answer immediately.
no,
No,
Bring it up to her and see if she can come up with...
something she could research and see why.
All right.
Yep,
Just
that's
so-
all I'm asking.
just so we put it back in the, so Kent's been waiting for 10 minutes on this to get an answer.
Well, news day, we're gonna look into it.
Okay, I think we had a first and
Yeah,
second.
and that's
Any
the
more
discussion. Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Tax credits are approved.
And I think I'll give these to you. We have copies of all, right? Yeah.
And you put it on file somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, now it looks like we have drainage.
Are we going into drainage, or we're just
How do you
talking?
wanna do it? Do you just wanna talk about it, or?
Does Kim have anything for us? You know.
Why don't we go ahead and finish out the rest of it and then go to drainage?
All right. Any reports?
Okay. On Tuesday, the 24th, I had, that's the right week, yeah. UDMO, our monthly UDMO meeting on the Zoom. And then on Thursday, or actually on Wednesday, I had replied to, the guy down at, Surf Deck that I wasn't gonna come to Des Moines for that meeting. And he said he was a little nervous about having enough people Thursday morning for a quorum, so wondered if I'd be able to get on a conference call. So about 7:30 Thursday morning, they called, they didn't have enough people. So I did partake in one meeting down there. There's the Surf Deck, secondary roads people. It's Surf Deck, S-E-F-D-E-C. Secondary road. I don't know how, well, I do know how. It was Carl.
Got you on it.
Got me on it.
What you love.
That was an early morning breakfast.
That's the 7 o'clock meeting, 7:30 meeting over there. And talking with Ben, 'cause Ben likes to listen to that, all that affects, for money that we all receive. And the main topics were, basically, things are gonna be about the same as last year, as far as what we get. And of course, the, money from the federal government for 99 counties that are all hoping if they do send money. So that was the major gist of the conversation. Then at night, Thursday night, I had my CFR meeting. That was Zoom also. That was it.
Okay, Tuesday, the 24th, I headed down to Des Moines because we had, I'm on the ISAC Education, Committee, and it was a really good meeting because basically we're planning all of 2022's, meetings for their agenda of what we're gonna have. And I don't know if everybody is signed up for the, Certified Supervisors. I'd highly recommend that you sign up for that, because anything you participate in this year counts towards that, and then next, it's a 2-year program, and then next year also. So we're looking at a lot of infrastructure, because there's that new bill that's looking at, and it's probably going to pass. So, and then, of course, there's always the legislative priorities. The other thing was there's a new rollback tax calculation or something that we're gonna have, we're looking at getting training on that. Then the auditors voting issues, that's gonna be something. Mental health, of course, and then the children, that's gonna be another huge thing, and how this is all gonna work together. And then they wanna have a webinar on TIFs, and then possibly have that tied in with the agenda. So that's kind of some of the things that we talked about on that. So I think it'll be really good training that we're gonna have next year. And then,
When you say next year, you're talking...
2022, yeah. Well, some of it'll be at the Supervisors' annual meeting too,
Okay.
'cause that's,
Into January.
yeah, January, yeah. Or, well, they get here February 3rd, sorry, February 3rd, 2022. and then the spring will be March 10th through the 11th, and then the annual will be August 24th through the 26th. Yeah, I have a feeling it's probably cheaper, 'cause it's that time of
A
the,
little after the state fair.
Yeah.
School started.
Yeah.
hotel rooms are
cheaper,
convention center's
and I'm,
cheaper.
yeah, so I'm sure that has something to do with it. They didn't really say that, but that's kind of what I'm figuring, since they're staying with that.
Doesn't bother me to say.
Yeah, nope, me neither. So, oh man, then we had the next day, of course I was there through Friday. Wednesday was the meeting on the, American Rescue Plan, and that was an all-day intense training. My head was spinning by the time we got done with, everybody's was, because there was just so much stuff thrown at us. A lot of the, counties that, during the discussion time, talked about that they're keeping all the money in-house, basically meaning that they're gonna use it in the county. It's, not going towards a lot of, organizations and things like that. There's only a few, 'cause you've got the ones that have huge population, they're opening up for applications for, organizations within their community, and things like that. But, most of the counties our size, we're looking at projects. A lot of them are doing what we had talked about possibly with the, parks, or with the, Sheldon Park out there, updating. A lot of them need, the smaller, counties need to update their bathroom facilities too. I was surprised at how many have the same type of bathroom facilities that we do. Updating showers, things like that. Broadband was a huge thing that was brought up, but I know we talked a little bit about that, because isn't it the boat area that we don't,
Boat shop.
the boat shop, but there isn't a lot good broadband up there. Anyway, the state has, I can't find my paper that I had on that either.
Broadband would be a state's responsibility.
Well, I kinda think
Well-
isn't the federal government trying to push that?
Yeah.
But they've given the money, the ARP money, to be used, but I can't find my paper on that. But anyway, I can figure that out, I can get a hold of Jamie, but there's a organization that the state has contracted with that can help counties at no cost. So that's one good thing, there's a way you can get on some website and see what is how is our broadband throughout our county. And then we can get with that organization, and they'll help us try to figure out, what it is that we need to do to get it to the areas that are not. HVAC was a big thing that was discussed, and there's a lot of, courthouses that have the same type of situation that we have.
Which
And
doesn't work really well.
they're talking about, the ones that were kinda in our little area of discussion, they're gonna actually put in forced air.
Oh, wow.
I don't think you got enough
Yeah.
money to do that.
Like I said, I'm not an HVAC person, so I have no, but I was surprised at how many had talked about putting in forced air. I was really surprised.
Well, then you can run air filtration systems,
Right.
Wow.
So I don't know what that would cost, if that's even something we wanna think about. I mean, I don't know. Electronic, a lot of discussion on that, and updating the electronics, of course, that's all. So everything that we have been discussing sounds like it's gonna be covered. They just really stress that we've gotta get the resolutions, we've gotta get them worded right. Oh, and then, pretty much all the counties are putting together a team, a committee, a subcommittee to kind of put these things forward. It's usually like one supervisor, the county attorney, EMA, the sheriff, conservation, and then I think they were talking about, some have one from each department, but other ones they'll have like a, one designee for the department. So, secondary roads too, they had secondary roads on that. So that was, like I said, that was huge on Wednesday, and then Thursday, that was the, more of the mental health and getting people, you know, making sure that you keep everybody up because of, COVID has been hard, and then they had that guy come and talk. I can't think of what his name was, but he was a pretty good speaker. And then, the last day, Friday, was really good. That was the two gentlemen from, that had to do the SIT training for, police and the sheriff's department, and that's, very good. I'm hoping that I gotta talk with, Dean about it and that, see if we can't. And we're gonna, try to get, Rolling Hills to be as active in it as what CSS was, because CSS really supported that program to help. It's more for the mental health, to keep the mental health people out of the jail system, and to get them the help that they need, and things like that. So, it was a really good training, period. Oh, and the other one I forgot, the other one, I almost forgot about that, was how to talk with press releases and things like that. So the first part of, Thursday was press releases, and the second part was that guy. That was, kind of the motivational speaker. Yeah. And that was, we met, Dave Price, he came, did a little talk, the WHO guy.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that was pretty interesting. That's all I got.
Thank you for attending that, Sandy.
But it would've been good training. I mean, I think it would've been really beneficial for almost, I mean, everybody. It was really very good training and really good information.
Okay, Wednesday the 25th, we had a hazmat meeting, Region 5, and it was canceled because we didn't have enough quorum because of ice act. Everybody went down there.
Mm-hmm.
So, that afternoon, it was a Zoom Pathfinder meeting. It was gonna be live, but then they changed it to last minute to a Zoom. And they're gonna change their name back to Midas.
Really?
They found out there was another organization called Pathfinders.
Oh, okay.
And they didn't check this all out to start with.
Oh, my gosh.
Shirley Hegewald is the acting,
Back to the Buckler Company.
she's the acting chairman of the Big Shot now, so. That's about it on it. Then on, Friday, I had a Board of Health, and, it's floating around here someplace,
Yeah, I
the
see that.
Pocahontas
Failure.
sanitarian report of what they done. Go ahead and look at it,
Okay.
pass funded. They're looking for part-time and a full-time, part-time home care aide positions open and a full-time corporate nurse position. They need applications or somebody in those positions. COVID, Michelle said that she would come and talk to us if you thought it was necessary. COVID is on the rise again.
Mm-hmm.
School kids, they're masked on the bus only. They're not forcing it in school, but on the buses, they want you to have masks. And they've got some COVID at-home tests that you can pick up at the hospital, and it reads itself or whatever it does. They're still recommending masks in crowded areas and school events. That's about it on the Board of Health, so. That's all I had.
All right, past Monday, the 23rd, that afternoon, I had a building families meeting in Clarion. And things went well. Things are going good with that. And nothing really in particular to report, but it was a good meeting for building families last Monday. So I had officially last week.
Okay. Now we just have DD 10, and I'll just ask Kim if she has anything on that.
Trish, got anything for us?
kind of a problem here. Being that the building is older and different things in the building are getting older, and, the custodians came to me last week and said our drinking fountains are not working like they should be anymore. The one in the basement's really bad, and the one on the first floor is really bad. They can't get this one to drain. And I've tried rotor-rooting it out with, you know, just like a coat hanger, but it appears as though the pipes are all rusted and clogging it up. So we need to know how you wanna proceed with that, you know, and with the whole COVID protocol and everything else,
Are they even in use?
Yeah.
Are they supposed to be? They've shut ours off at the church, they've been off for a year,
Is
but...
this the one in the basement we're done on?
Both
Both of them?
basement and this floor.
Okay. I know we discussed putting in a bottle filler.
You know,
You can use the ARP money to get everything, touchless, for even your, water fountains. Oh, that was something I was gonna bring up, they talked about the doors. They said they recommend the doors that you don't use those foot things, 'cause they're unsafe. And for women, you know, a lot of times in the summertime, they have toeless shoes, or whatever you wanna call it, and so
So what do they
the
recommend?
toe, that you push, you know, that you can push through, so like people can use
Button.
their,
But when you need to close it, then it's hard to, I mean, they don't have any option.
yeah. But when you go in and when you go out, they get it, so, yeah. But you can use your ARP
We're in
money
different
for...
That just struck me funny, I'm sorry.
I know, but most men always would have covered toes.
I'm
Where
good with
women,
it.
where women don't.
I just, sometimes I look at a woman and say, why would you wear something like those shoes?
'Cause they're comfortable.
Well, a heel.
Oh, I'm not
You're up in the air
talking
like
about...
this, walking, and it's like,
Well.
how the heck can that be comfortable?
Well,
Oh, I'll leave it alone.
so I guess, you know, and the primary concern with this one up here is it appears as the drain is corroded, and I don't know what the,
Protocol.
Protocol
We're gonna have to
or-
have someone, I suppose, give us a bid as to what it'd take to...
How about a new touchless water fountain, and then pay for it with ARP money?
Yeah.
How about that?
That's what I'd look at.
yeah, 'cause we're gonna have to go touchless in the bathrooms,
I think
you know, and stuff like that,
let's wait-
toilets and everything.
Let's wait on that and do it all at one shot.
Yeah,
Have somebody come in and give us quotes on redoing the whole building. and-
yeah.
I'm not sure that, I mean, I know up at our church, our water fountains are still shut
Yeah,
off,
ours has too,
because they're,
unsanitary.
yeah, at this time, they don't know how to, so it's easier to just leave them shut off.
Mhm.
But that's the way, the direction I would move, I mean, until we,
Mhm. I would agree.
anything else with our building? Did we come to any conclusion on what room we're going with this stuff next door, or are you... Well, I'm just,
I'm not sure yet.
because he said they would be ordering the stuff in September and October, they would be here and have it done.
I've talked to him.
So we just need to make sure that we don't, a week before,
Mhm.
we're down there with two guys in a van, or whatever the name of that, stuffing stuff out the door, trying to make
Right.
sure we have a room. So, I don't know what we're gonna do with all the stuff that's down there. And it's probably not your,
It's a bad idea.
it is a mess.
There's a lot. And, there's some stuff that I don't know what it is.
Well, some of that stuff's probably been there for
A while.
a long time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
So,
mean, it's all electronics, it's pretty much, right? And a couple on the desk, there's other things.
there's like storage cabinets of some sort, but they're different. They're like skinny shelves and,
Well, we'll just
but
scrap
they're,
them.
yeah, I
Scrap.
think they're just
Yeah,
Pull the
obsolete.
hard drive
That
out
would
of
work.
everything and
Get rid of it.
yep.
So then, yeah, we just need to decide on where we wanna move people to get them out of the basement, so it's a little more, I think, secure, because I see the juvenile officer is down there today. And, you know, there's just no camera back in there where she's at, and I don't know. I think it would be better suited, and then have it upstairs. There's actually, where Esmo was, the 2 rooms where you could have her office and then a waiting.
Waiting area.
So they're not sitting in the middle of
Yeah,
a hallway, you know.
right.
Plus there's cameras up there too,
Yes, it's a little better,
with John being up there.
it's a lot better facility, so,
And she's only here, what, once or twice a month?
oh, more than
Is
that.
she there more often than that?
Yep. And then DHS is never here, so that needs to find a spot also.
Well, they could go up there, 'cause there's still more room up there.
So my question is, and I'm not trying to put this off on Trish, because do we have to say as to what's going in that room, and what gets thrown, and what gets, I don't have a clue.
I think so. We can throw whatever way except for that state desk, and I think we'll just
Set it out by the street
send them a
with the
notice that
snow?
we're gonna, it's garbage, it's moldy, it's going.
Yeah. If you
And
want
if
it,
you want
come
it,
get
you're
it.
welcome to come and
You
get
have
it.
30 days to come get it, otherwise,
You got 24 hours, come and get it.
well, I think you gotta give a little bit more time. But,
Well, I hauled that thing out once, I wasn't real happy when I had to carry it back in.
I bet not.
Yeah, that's a fine idea. And that other stuff, let's quit chasing it around and then get rid of it.
Yep.
Is you have that company that will come
And recycle some.
and they take 90% of it, they do charge you for a few items, and we can get rid of it.
Clean it out of there. Dust included.
Yeah.
In fact, you could send that statement to the state now and tell them,
Yeah.
they want to come and get it,
Yeah,
otherwise.
that's what I would
So
do.
just send them an email saying we got some old furniture that has been wet, it's been stored, it's wet, it's moldy, it's going. If you want it, come and get it, you got so many days.
But I'd prefer they replied back to you with a, get rid of it, so that next month they don't call you and say, hey, we just looked at that email and we didn't want that desk.
Mhm.
It's out at the landfill, sorry.
I highly doubt it, unless you brought it to their attention, that anyone is keeping track of it.
I doubt it too, but I don't wanna try to find $1,000 to replace an old desk that, so as long as we're moving forward with that, and like I said, I don't wanna put it on your shoulders, and
Governor Reeves, I sent some people on here to go over.
if we can,
Get some of it.
that company that'll come and do it,
Get them.
get them,
Okay.
move it.
Well, I need to get sorted out first, so I'll need 2 separate rooms to,
Sort it.
Have one saving and one
Oh, it's-
going.
yeah, because, I mean, it's like,
That high, yeah?
I love there more down there, so you have to kind of take it out in layers and put it in somewhere. But,
Make sure you wear gloves, so you don't cut yourself or nick yourself.
Custodians to help you.
Yep.
yeah, they
You give them direction, I'm pretty sure they'll take care of it.
Yeah.
will. And the
They're
other
good guys, so
thing
good.
Yep.
I have is scanning of manure management plans. On the base camp for the auditors and that, they're all talking about how they scan their manure management plan. And some of them don't keep hard copies at all, but I'm thinking that keeping the original one, the original filing with the large packet's probably the best thing to do, maybe. I like to keep something. And then as every update comes, that we
Yeah,
can just
'cause
scan it and
they
put in the
update
file.
them every year.
Mhm.
Then that could be digital. Good idea.
And a lot of them come in digital.
So that'd be simple.
So what we've been doing is just saving what comes in, scanning it or just saving it, and still keeping the hard copy, but I think in the interest of saving a lot of space anymore, we're running out, that maybe we could just start not keeping the hard copy of the updates. Whatever you guys think.
I don't have a problem with you doing it, as long as you do a record as to how you're doing it, because if you are gone for a month or something, then we need to know that Kim or whoever in that office knows how, if someone comes in and wants to look at their copy or wants a copy of their copy, what they're getting and how we get to it.
Make sure it's indexed
So
properly.
that's my only concern.
There were files created last week for every plan, whether it be, 5, 6 years old, whatever the latest plan was. They were all scanned in and a file created under their plan, and then another file created under the same site name that is their DNR renewal. So every renewal that comes in every year, you just,
Add it to it.
yeah,
Perfect.
right.
And speaking of scanning, they have 3 different, because a lot of people are using their area ARP money for that also. And I talked to each one of them, and I've got...
I didn't know if you were asking me.
Yeah, that's coming to church too. But anyway, the top one, that Don, he's done it pretty good, and I know he's doing Clayton. I think I forwarded an email to everybody.
I read that.
Yeah.
Yep, I like that.
So, and each one of those are willing to come, talk, look at what you have, and then talk to the board, to determine which would be, but they're all indexing, scanning, and everything. This I got from the Secretary of State for you. It's a B voter type thing. It rolls out to hang up. Thank you. You're welcome.
Well, the other, Ben had talked about possibly, with some of the records that they have out there.
He needs a bigger scanner type thing.
Yeah, and wondering if, we could use our money for that and then use our own labor pool but the problem is, that thing is not the smallest machine.
Right.
And stuff out there that he has is all bigger, so you need a bigger machine to do that. And I guess...
A lot of our stuff's large also, with
Right.
3-inch maps.
Well, if we got room down in the basement in some place that we could use, but how the heck do you get that machine down there?
Yeah.
Elevator.
Okay?
And a piece.
I'm sure if it goes through the door, it goes...
Well, if it goes down the ramp, and can we get it in there? But I think that
Here's the garage.
we have the ability with that money to use, and I don't have any problems with using someone to at least get the idea as to how we're doing it, but that machine might be something to invest in to...
Again, pay for it with ARP money.
Yeah. So,
That's a wonderful idea. But this, what Sandy got for information is a great place to start.
right,
Very good.
agree.
Let's get started.
At the meeting in Sioux City, I had talked to that Dawn.
Did you? Okay.
I think they have a good,
Sounds like they have a pretty good system. Of all of them, they were all very personable, don't get me wrong, but he seemed like he was more...
I was impressed with their presentation and what they had, so. But other than that,
Okay.
I don't have anything. I'm working on filing the ARP stuff and looking for financials, so.
I saw Betty, she said she was gonna be here tomorrow to help you.
If I'm not done before then, so hopefully I'll be.
Motion to go in drainage.
Thank you.
Second. First and second, all in favor?
Aye.
You're moving into your...
Then we can dismiss when we're done there?
Yeah.
You're done? All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, short and sweet today. Good morning.
Morning.
This has to do with DD 10 out here, we cleaned DD 10 last fall, I think.
We've actually, just as of last week, we did the final pay estimate. We paid out Peterson for the retainage on that. And we were waiting from Rick Hopper to get final permission just to go in on the landowners. You all have copies of the original email from Jacobson Westergaard, and he just replied back that he finally did get permission from the attorneys that were overseeing that land, and they have permission to go in and clear out the end of that. The only stipulation that they're asking is to wait so that there is no crop damage. So at this point, we'll just need to assign a contractor, and I'm assuming that we'll have Peterson go back in, since they did the whole clean-out project. And then I'll just have to create a new work order for that.
Unless anyone else has.
That sounds like a great idea. I mean, yeah, I would make it a new work order, because it's a separate project.
Right.
I did talk with Rick Peterson, and told him that we were gonna discuss this, and obviously they are familiar with it, because I think they're the kind of ones that brought it to our attention when they started on the project.
Yeah, they went down in there and cleaned out an old private bridge.
Yeah, and they said there's this other stuff that we're talking about, you got the landowner's permission, they understand the stipulation, that is fantastic, because they said a late fall, early winter would be a good timing, so it'd be long after the crops are removed, so if you need a motion, I would make the motion for,
I don't know.
do we need to make a motion?
I think we can just do it as a work order.
Right.
Okay, do it as a work order, they're agreeable, they know the location, the situation, and the timing, so.
Yeah, and they're very conscientious
Yep.
guys.
And that happens to fit everything that is requested, so.
Yeah, and there will be no straightening or...
No, it's just getting rid of
Just removing trees,
obstructions.
obstructions that fall into the...
So are they removing off place?
Oh,
Or will
they did ask, and
Burn on the property.
That's what I wondered.
they will have a conversation with the landowners or whomever
Yeah.
about burning on site any of the trees that they drag out.
That's what I wondered.
Yeah, the original letter from Jacobson to Aaron Flea, Emick, and Legbold is stating that they're going to limit how many trees will be removed, and that they're going to try to do everything from just one side of the
Right.
creek. And the trees from the blockages and other trees removed would be burned on site.
Right, so.
Well, that should cut down on traveling.
Yeah, they're gonna get rid of the old dead trees.
Yeah,
So
and the
they're
stuff
not
that's,
gonna get rid of it, they're just
No.
gonna clean it out,
Yep.
so.
I think we're good to go with that.
Anything else? Drainage?
Basically, I'm waiting to hear from Rick Hopper if anybody has been back over to DD 18.
I visited with him, and at that time, we didn't have all this rain that we all got.
Where their concern was, if that's enough more water to float their boat, so they can continue on with the diagnostics, if you will. So, yeah, that's good, Kim, find out, we can ask for that. Hopefully they'll get it done yet this year.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get that done.
We have that on file.
If that's
Anything
it,
else?
I'll make a motion unless you got something.
I was just gonna tell you real briefly, I submitted a couple bills on, right-of-way weed control. We're up to date as of those. One was for the stated project of, hard surface roads in the southern half of the county. The other one was, just miscellaneous around the county, spot spraying kind of materials, different outbreaks here and there. So we do have one thing left as our scheduled program, and that will be probably late September, and that is south half, secondary roads, thistle control. And that will be the wrap-up of our planned program for...
So if anybody has a big patch of thistles that they're aware of, to let someone know.
Right, yes, anything that, but the planned program still is...
Right.
We went over the hard surface roads in the south half of the county, not, the fall program is gravel roads,
Right.
secondary roads. And that's fall, so that's late September. That has not been accomplished yet. And the conditions are good with the rain, it's rinsed everything off, that works really well.
Yeah.
So, it's been a pretty good program, you know, remember, it's weed control, it's not weed eradication. That's why sometimes we have some outbreaks. And if there's ever anything, and people do contact me and we do address it, so. That's going well, and if there's any thoughts or whatever, we take those into consideration for next year's program.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good shape for this year, though.
Anything else?
Is that it for drainage? Motion to go out.
Second.
The first, second to be drainage, all in favor?
Aye.
Carries, back to general session.
Motion to go out of that.
Second.
The first and second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, we're adjourned at 10:01.
Perfect.